most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Racehour. I'm your host Stephen Cass, joined as ever by Diarmuid, Nolan, Tony Keenan, sponsored by Bet365 and Gambling.com. Tony, you got a good haircut there. You're looking well. Just Dermo was speculating. Are you shaving it yourself or are you going to the barbers?
No, that was you speculating that. You're asking me.
Thanks, Tony.
Saving
a few quid.
I hope it doesn't look that bad that it's a homemade job, but I actually paid a barber for this job, actually,
Yeah, well paid. How was your weekend, Dermo?
All good, bad
good,
punt.
all right, yeah.
Go on, Tony, sorry.
No, sorry, it might never happen again for 2026. I got a few quid at Fairy House today. The Dan Moore was rescheduled there, and I won a small few quid at Navan. What was that, Saturday? I lost a few quid at Taurus. Just that was, I'd say if there's a worse meeting running a good Sunday now in Ireland all season, that would be it. No, a terrible meeting yesterday. I know it was a great crowd at it, though, by all accounts. There with the Taurus meet, that was awful racing. Jesus, they were very uninteresting races, I felt.
Yeah, and Barry Connell gave it the big one, didn't he, with the interview with Kevin O'Ryan, Tony? Did you see that?
Jesus. Do you know what it's turning into, lads? It's like what you call Roy Keane goes beyond that show. It's kind of are we getting to the stage now? It's
the overlap
on the commentary type of thing. Yeah. Geez, what did Roy say this week, or what did Gary? It's what Barry Connell said about Marine Nationale. Has anyone asked him about the fortunate circumstances that he's won 2 champion chases with 2 kind of fallers in the straight? Like that'd kind of be the thing that I'd like to be talking about. He's rubbish in all these other races, and maybe he's right. Maybe the race on Saturday was a little bit of a fraudulent race. There were only 2 of them left in it, but his own horse has been fortunate now, and he's now quite short for the champion chase. So we'll see.
Yeah. He's a character anyway. You like it, Dermo. You're a fan.
I love that stuff. I think racing needs far, far more of it. Like I just don't see any issue with it. The horses can't read the tweets. No one's getting offended by it. The only person that might end up with egg in their face is Barry Connell. And even when he spoke about this horse back into Supreme, he said he'd win the Supreme. He did. He said he'd win the Champion Chase. He did. As in Barry Connell, it was a lot of things, but in fairness to them, the yard's going quite well as well. He had a good weekend again. Ramsey had the tyre was unlucky on Saturday, and then each to their own. Was the winner on Sunday?
Yeah.
Really, really smart performance. That yard is flying. I have a great time for it. I like Paul Nicholls is full of this old fighting talk as well. I think there's enough boring interviews in racing where they just say, yeah, it's a nice horse. Yeah, we'll talk to Frank now after this race now and we'll decide where we go next. Yeah, nice horse. All about today. Barry Connell just maps it all out. It's great. And the more of this, the better, Cass.
Very good. And had you a good weekend punting yourself, Dermo, Johnny? Look,
I had a great weekend, sat in front of the TV. This weekend, a rare one of it. And no, God, I had an awful weekend punting. Literally Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Just got... whatever I could get wrong, I got wrong, Cass. So it's one of those weekends, but sure, look, Cass, we live and we learn.
Yeah, live and learn. But one of your favourites, so we'll do the review first, then we'll go through a good bit of Irish stuff I thought to talk about. And we're going to do open hurdles and novice chasers would look towards Cheltenham then. So that's kind of the layout of the show. And as usual, a chat with Pat Cooney. But Dermo, the English stuff first. I suppose the Clarence House is the big one. We'll talk about that first.
Yeah.
And what you thought about a Mickey Mouse race, as Barry Connell would put it.
It was a bit of a Mickey Mouse race, yeah. It just never quite happened for, let's say, Tom. Regardless of the fall, I didn't think Paul Townend ever looked overly content in himself either. He never looked thrilled. And then the whole way around then as well, like John Bond looked in trouble at one point, but he was good enough to stay on. Tisselask ran an absolute screamer. I'm happy for John Bond if you could be. I've never been a massive fan of his, but it's his 13th or 14th Grade 1 now. 13th, I think it was. But it's fairly uninspiring form. I could see why Barry Connell was quite bullish afterwards. I'm not sure what there is against him, but Tisselask ran an absolute screamer. I'd say you had a bit of a heart attack there when he was jumping 2 out, looking like he was swinging all over them. But in fairness to James Bowen,
I'd nearly be border on enjoying being wrong all the time. Do you know what I mean? I'm wrong so much now that I might as well just be wrong on every single take I have.
Can't
At
have
least
the-
I'd be consistent that way. Like,
After the weekend I just had, Cass, I'm not going to slag you too much, but but literally, I just thought he ran a screamer, but he ran a screamer in the context of this is a waning John Bon, who needs to go up and trip. I'd love to see him in an Aintree Bowl because he's still got the heart for it. He still cares. He still wants to go and win. It's just he just doesn't quite have that speed anymore. Look, good race to watch, but as far as form, I think it's next to worthless.
what about a little Tom Tony in the context of that race? You'd be very worried if you had backed him for the champion chase before that.
You won't, because like, despite missing time over the past couple of seasons, he's actually been ultra consistent since the Arkle run. I think he's won every race, hasn't he? I don't know, can you put it down to the track or the size of the fences? Like, he's jumped around Sandown. He's been brilliant at Sandown, brilliant at Leopardstown, brilliant at Aintree. Oh, at places where, Jesus, you wouldn't be saying fences are easy. Far from it. In fact, I just think he was never going a yard. The kind of manoeuvre the town and made after the 3 or 4 fences, swinging him kind of wide, was a sign that, Jesus, that was pure distress signals. And then kind of back in the inner, trying to get him going at kind of at any point. And he was jumping badly over the first few. I suppose Gidley Park jumping terribly was drawing the eye, but I don't think Letty Thompson's covering himself in glory with his kind of jumping. So yeah, and then a dirty fall, and like the last place he wants to be going for a recovery mission is a track to me that he doesn't really handle. I just think he's looked uncomfortable on the undulations at Cheltenham. So big ask. I would say he is. His 2 runs at Sandown would be as good as Eton Marine National has done in terms of pure pounds and ratings and stuff. But what you can do at Cheltenham, I'd be quite doubtful. I wouldn't be just as dismissive of the second tier lads at Cheltenham. I would say coming back a 4.5 on Keenan Naish's ground will actually suit him. Real speed test in the championship. I wouldn't be surprised if he lot of thought there maybe he was going to hit a ceiling completely and get run over here at the weekend. Like, geez, he found another £7. Well, what's to say he's not going to find another £3 or £4 at Cheltenham? I certainly wouldn't be striking a line through him. And he's still he's 16 or 18 to 1 there, kind of Tistelask. So yeah, I'd give him a small chance in the champion chase.
He didn't flash his tail either, which I thought he did the time before. He looks a bit more difficult the time before, nearly. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from in a way. He kind of looks to your eye like a flat track horse, but I don't know if that's even a thing. As long as he can jump him as well as he jumps him on Saturday, he's going to have a chance in the champion chase. I backed a lot of Sud for the champion chase. I was talking about it here a couple of weeks ago, and I got 14s just after the race on Saturday. I think he's just very solid. And the form of the Slore, I know, Diarmuid, you were laughing at it, but Matat has won. John Bond's obviously come out and won. I think something else has come out and won. I think everything he beat has won since. So that was the best 2 mile performance. That arguably, I suppose, and Marine National solid. So I wouldn't say there's that much between Lord of Sud and the top of the market and the Skellingtons that have them there fresh. So I'd be going for him. But anyway, that's kind of down the line. Diarmuid, the other ones we saw, Old Park Star, mighty impressive at Haydock. You're a big fan. I'm sure you were blown away.
Yeah, but both of us were, Cass. It's kind of good the odd time when your eye is right, which is always nice, the very odd time when that does happen. He's just very straightforward, point and go, jumps very well. I like the fact that Nico de Bomble said afterwards he loves him. I know there's Nico detractors everywhere, but Nico knows a good one, obviously. And, he absolutely loves them all together. I love the fact that Nico said he rode him to let Hurricane Pat get to him 2 out because he knew he needed to kind of, to have him in a race this time. And the second Hurricane Pat got him 2 out. He didn't even really get him, but when he got close to him at all, he blew him away. He's a monster of a horse. And Nicky Henderson has all of a sudden amassed, he has a serious lot of novice hurdlers, because on Wednesday as well, Fire Warning won for him at Newbury. I know he looked like a big baby, but he was for Rich Ritchie. He looked like a very smart horse. He's got Crystal Island over 3 miles. And then at the weekend, the one that I said that I thought was still overpriced was the Active Innocence, who got beaten last time, but was nearly given £20 away to Manila Yoga. He looks really smart as well. So Nicky Henderson has a fair old team there now, and it's just this Old Park Star. We knew he was smart at Cheltenham. The form wasn't great, but good horses can win bad races. And I don't know, Cass, it was a super performance, I thought. There was kind of no flaw in him, really, wasn't there?
Yeah, like Hurricane Pat ran his race, the two of them were miles clear. So Hurricane Pat was giving us running and ran really well. And he has to be a one. At worst, he has to be a low 130s horse. The way he's been beating other good, decent novices at Sandown and the last day. So you're into the 150s straight away with beating him 18 lengths, I'd say. And if you're in the
horse and third is 124.
Yeah, and like if I would say if Old Park Star wasn't in that race, Hurricane Pat would have beaten him 6 legs. You know what I mean? So you're kind of I know he finished up sides him, but that's because Old Park Star broke him. So yeah, you're into the 150s then. And Tony, once you're in the 150s, he was very impressive, wasn't he? He had to have a real chance and proper supreme favourite. Kind of a bull of a horse.
Absolutely. Yeah, fully deserving of. Yeah. I think the kind of ratings organisations that have him in the 150s, which is up there with any kind of very solid pre-race supreme favourite at this point, going into the race, even like before type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other stuff, Dermo in the UK, I mean, Protect Rat was fabulous yesterday. I suppose Hampton's disappointing for you. Yeah, super horse, yeah. What do you think of the Skelton and
that was brilliant.
Sean Bowen in the handicap hurdle? That was great stuff.
It's fantastic. I didn't get what Skelton's problem was. I mean, as in I know it's kind of annoying when it happens, but Rachel Blackmore and Paul Townend were doing that to each other around Cheltenham for years. All never got across to each other in public anyway. Sean Bowen spotted what Harry Skelton wanted to do and didn't allow him to do it. It's a brilliant piece of race riding. But that meeting overall in general is a superb meeting. Really, really good. The other thing that I kind of took from it as well is that Ben Pauling and Ben Jones, the two Bens, they need to keep this form going towards Cheltenham time for thing, because they are flying. I mean, coming into Saturday, Ben Jones had 5 rides at that Berkshire Millions. He rode 4 winners over the 2 courses. He's a superb jockey. They're absolutely flying. But this meeting has added quite value there. I'd actually love to go to Windsor. It looks really special there, Cass. It looks like one of those old weird tracks and stuff. Like, it's great crack. So you went, didn't you?
I was at a flat meeting on a Monday night there when I was in my race and post days. I just nipped. You can get a boat out from London and nipped out there and off you get. Yeah, it's cool. It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's tiny, small stands, figure of 8 track. You can't see them for about maybe a fifth of the race. They're kind of off out behind the stands. You can't see them, but it certainly was when I was there. But it's a lovely place and definitely well worth a visit. You can go to Lego as well while you're there. You can nearly do it with the family kind of a thing. If you wanted that. And Dermo, you were impressed with Winston Jr. Was he Ascot, wasn't he? He was the thing, the Tony McCoy, that operation, the Bramley, is it?
Bramley, yeah. She's a serious trainer anyway, but a great yard, but really, really impressive. Wonders on the Bridle. I recommend anybody to watch it back. But afterwards, there was quotes for the Fred Winter. I'm not sure the handicapper's going to allow him go in too low now in a Fred Winter off after this performance. He won it absolutely on the Bridle. I was nearly shouting at the jockey saying, would you just,
well, the jockey was Harry Cobden. I watched that in the bookies, and someone beside me goes, "That's the first winner now for JP there." Cobden. I thought that was very good. They're very sharp.
That's brilliant. Yeah. But yeah, it's
I don't know, Dermo. He can't really be rated like much higher than high 120s, or else how good are these English?
Yeah, I suppose I know.
Juveniles,
but still, the English juveniles, I do think at the moment are look like Bar Narciso has. They do look a kind of a decent bunch as well at the moment. But I thought this was a really smart performance, and just one of those performances where you just don't know kind of how good he could be, because there's just a few lurking around there as well. I think if Active Innocence goes on now, Women's on Saturday, you've got Manila Yoga there as well, who I was taken with that day. So I'd say now the Triumph division isn't quite done with yet either. So it's and the Fred Winter, but I'm not sure now whether they hate to say it, but I'm not sure whether the mark now was a little bit blown at the weekend now.
Yeah. And while we're talking juveniles, Tony, kind of tying into the Irish review, Proactive Macho Man. That was a long time ago. I don't know what day that was, Tuesday or Wednesday. It was a Fairyhouse or Punchestown. I'm always confused watching Fairyhouse and Punchestown between.
Yeah, Fairyhouse.
I saw the race. What did you think of that? I didn't think it was that special now in terms of a Triumph trial, but there's plenty short after it. Proactive.
Yeah, fine. Look, kind of market support kind of came for him rather than the Donnelly horse kind of late. And, when one of these JP horses goes to the front, like, you do kind of get the feeling it's game over, like they're really fancying it. maybe wasn't great at the first couple of hurdles, but as the race went on, his hurdling was really slick, whereas Macho Man's wasn't great. I thought he was well on top at the lane. I think the time was quite decent. Some okay horses in behind. Wouldn't have done what Narciso would have done now. Like, I know that I still think maybe the discrepancy between the two of them in the market maybe isn't, the triumph market, should I say, isn't kind of wide enough. Just want to mention one other horse, go back to that Winston Jr. race. The second in that was Genealogy. Dennis Hogan, is it? I think that horse made it. Talking about Fred Winter, maybe he's a Fred Winter horse.
Yeah, he wasn't off, I didn't think,
Yeah, but he obviously was a decent flat horse with Aidan O'Brien, missed the most of the summer, came back to run at Leopardstown there, and what was it? Is it October handicap now? It is. The Blake one, he was down the inside that day. Enten was down the inside in that race, had absolutely no chance. Thought he ran quite well, and then he ran back at Leopardstown at Christmas in the race that Harley Stuff won. Again, education out the back, finished quite well. I suppose the thing, one leaving Ballydial, you're saying there's not an awful lot of improvement in it, but just the fact that Justin Carty has bought it would kind of suggest that, yeah, maybe there is a bit of fire in this one. Yeah, he'd be the one I kind of have in mind for the Fred Winter now.
He'll have to run once more, I suppose. And the fact he's finished behind him, he's going to have to be given a mark in the mid-120s or something.
Yeah, so look, Stephen, he was way behind him. Like, he has to get a Mark Fairway kind of behind him. They have plenty of time to fit another run in there. Would you bet harder? You wouldn't be as bothered. So I think he's one to kind of be keeping in mind.
He's 3 runs now, doesn't he? Yeah. He's 3 runs over hurdles now, does he?
Two hurdles, I think.
Oh, 2 hurdles. Sorry,
no, another one.
Oh, sorry,
Another flat one.
That day at Ferryhouse, Tony, the wheel is turning. Willie Mullins had a 5-time earned the treble as well as Turdis yesterday. So. You were badly wrong on that one now, I must say.
Couldn't be wrong. At least I haven't, to be fair, I haven't lost any money now because I haven't really been opposing them now or that at all. So I've been sitting out, thank God. So look, I think 14 winners in the last 6 Irish racing days or something like that. But more than that, it's kind of the type of horse that is winning, like appreciate it there, like one of these old boys he keeps sweet. Then you had
Western Diego winning, like he's a he would have been top of the list now back in the day.
Yeah, there was a fair lot of disasters in that race now, and he was heading down the same road now on this season, and he I actually backed him. I actually thought he ran really well the last day at Fairyhouse, very small betting him, but he's a really good record at Fairyhouse now, and that the leader maybe did set it up for him a bit. Then you had your man in Taurus there yesterday, Espresso Milan. I'd say he did absolutely loads wrong and still won. Like Billy, we've seen that movie loads of times, real keen, making mistakes. But the thing though, I suppose that not that you really know to go back with the ever away, was these young horses kind of winning half the track. And obviously your man there, I kind of mentioned him, I couldn't remember his name last week, was Mighty Park I was talking about, who kind of got in as the reserve, and what did he win? 38 lengths. Good time. I suppose the biggest challenge here is going to be getting another run into him, because he has no entry at the DRF. There's a race there at Punchestown over 2 miles on February 15th. Even that'll be a bit tight.
Would they go for that race at Clonmel that Manila Indo won? Would they go for
way too far. No, it's way too far.
He's Mike White's brother, though. I'd say he's a pure stayer, that lad.
Yeah. I'd say Taurus might be more likely. There's a 2.5 for Taurus. But you know what? I have a quiz question for you now, lads. Sorry, I'm going to catch you on the hop here. I know the viewers love this and you hate them. But I went back and had a look at since 2018, Grade 1 novice hurdles at the festival. There was 101 horses, this including the Triumph now, which will give you a help as well. 101 horses went straight into the festival Grade 1 novice hurdles off the back of a maiden hurdle run, right? 3 of them won, and there were 6 more placed. Now, I'll let you go with the 3 winners, but what I will say is, just when you start thinking that, 9 horses in total place, Mullins had 8 of them.
Yeah. So the point being,
if someone's going to be, it's going to be him. Yeah.
And so I can't think of any of them off the top of my head.
Jimmy Desai would have placed anyway, wouldn't he? Jimmy Desai is one, I'd say. Is he placed?
Yes, he's one to place. I think. Yeah. But the winners, one was way back, and the 2 of them are relatively recent.
And we're not counting Poneros because he hadn't run, I suppose.
No, actually, yes, he'd be another one you may as well throw in the mix. Actually,
you give him.
You give him bonus points for that.
Oh God. I
So
wouldn't say the Supreme.
Bring on
might be
Bring on
one.
the Night had no run.
there's
to
never
me.
there's never been a Supreme winner. No.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
in that time. Not in that time frame. Anyway, 2008.
You'd Manila Indo,
2008.
although that was graded, was it? That he won Manila Indo?
He was a maiden, but had run a graded race beforehand. I think.
Yes. Okay.
There's probably a couple in
the.
the Bartlett. All right, I wouldn't be surprised.
There's one
but
in the bar. Yeah, there's a kind of a Turner's, a Ballymore, and a Triumph in there.
Turner's a Ballymore. Oh, jeez, yeah. Yeah, you may
The
put some
Ballymore,
history,
Sean
'cause this
O'Keefe
is bad
ran the
history.
Ballymore
I
winner,
think
did he?
5 for 3 was the Turners or the Ballymore winner.
Oh, we're going well back. Yeah,
But I think that was in the first year of that, and the other two were relatively recent. We had Penton Hills in the Triumph,
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
and then Good Horse this. Geez, he never got a chance. The nice guy, he won the Albert Bar.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to think of him, and I kept thinking
Sean
of
O'Keefe.
Dancing City.
Sean O'Keefe rode him that day, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah,
Someone
that's
else
a good.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point for Ponderous, actually. See, I mean, we give Mullins credit nearly for 3 coming out of a maiden order.
Yeah.
I would say to not give this horse another run. I'd say to be straight there myself.
And you know what's going on with the Mullins yard as well? That used to never happen. It's Townend being on a different one that's being punted. Like, I know Blood Destiny was strong enough in the market. Western Diego was punted. You had the one with the old Lawlers and Ace race that Patrick was on, the one that was punted. Brian Hayes seems to be riding winners all over the place. It's just that there's different things happening in the
But
Mullins yard this year.
there are owners linked in that yard who do use Brian Hayes quite a bit. There's they seem to be. Not sure if they're all the ones, Patrick and Brian Hayes live together. I'm not sure if they're like a group of friends linked to them, but there is a few horses there. Paul Byrne would use Brian Hayes an awful lot as well. But
Well, he won on joystick, and I've never seen him on a
Jeremy, I hope the Jesus now they've got Patrick out of the road there. The two of them are married now. Come on, for God's sake, surely not.
I don't know. Surely no. Yeah.
And doesn't Patrick have a child now as well?
Oh no, God! I'd say that's
the whole lot
long
like
end
the Brady bunch.
That linked up, but look, just on that, I was thrilled for Brian Hayes. I used to go to write a lot of articles with Brian, and there isn't a nicer guy in racing, and to ride a treble like that's top class. He rides a good bit for the Richies, actually. Cass, he'd be
does he?
Yeah, himself and he would. He ride a bit for them.
Himself and Patrick.
Yeah,
and the Irish Avatar, Tony, were you impressed with him? The bumper, it's hard to make sense. The bumper, there's so many of them coming out from Willie's now.
I was impressed with him, yeah. So look, I like the fact that they were saying afterwards he kind of had showed nothing up until 2 weeks ago, which would say to me that there's a fair chunk of improvement in him, kind of again for that run. I'd say he got into the right part of the track. He was very keen to kind of be out on the chase track. Just want to mention one other horse from Navan there, because I don't really have a tracker earlier on. Good race there to kind of start the day. Would often throw up a good handicap winner later on in the year. Zeus Power won it for Joseph. Quite liked him. Geez, I wouldn't like that Lazar the Star in second. There's a bit of a monkey in him now. God, he did the same at Navan that he did behind Sabaco. Yeah, hanging down the hill there, and everything haven't gone right. But the third, Cromwell's, we'll only have the one. He travelled as well as that. He hadn't run since Cheltenham November meeting. Disappointed there, but then the run before that, it looked like he was about to beat Aylesort that in Galway. Admittedly, funny race, bit of a farce of a race, but he's one you could be keeping with. But obviously the massive elephant in the room here is still the Cromwell stable form. Had a bit of a look there at that earlier. Like, I think since the start of November, looking at his Irish jumps runners only, like 4% strike rate. Like, his strike rate in the last 2 full Irish jump seasons, 12%. It just hasn't turned yet anyway. And I'd say since after a brief period there, mid-December, there were a few winners. Since January, it's just, very, very flat. So maybe you can mark him up for running well when the rest of them just aren't.
Yeah, Gavin Cromwell, he's 41 runs now without a winner. I think the last winner was in December. So, God, it's fairly striking for a yard that size. One that caught my eye was Panda Boy, and the Gleasons bought him. I'd say well bought now. John Gleason will be back from injury in a week or two. And the intention is to ride him in the Fox Hunters. He needs one more run. I see he's not really priced up anywhere, but Tony, he'd be interested in Panda Boy for that race.
I didn't even see it, Stephen, to be honest. Look, you'd have to start looking at those point-to-point videos and all that type of stuff. I have just no opinion at all with that.
I just think
Sorry.
he'd be off the class. You know, he would have been in mid 140s horse once upon a time, which would be good enough to be getting involved in that.
Yeah.
And you're going to have one of the better jocks in your side. So I'd say if you, like, they're definitely going for it. So I'd say if you were getting any kind of a decent double figure price, you wouldn't be doing too bad on Panda Boy
Does
there.
he need to complete that next start? Just a random question, sorry. Does he need to complete that next start, or is it just a start enough?
It's a good question, Dermot. It's a good question. Like, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Pull up before the first. Keep them fresh.
Yeah,
Would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
So we're kind of done. Is there anything else we want to add on the Irish UK stuff? We move on to our hurdles. So we're going champion hurdle, world hurdle, and then we're doing novice chaser. So the champion hurdle market, Dermo, we go to you first. Should we have this usual nonsense of Lossima, will she, won't she? But the DRF is going to tell a lot, really, when we get Lossima and brighter days ahead facing up. And we've Sergino this weekend against the New Lion. So there's a lot going to happen in the next 2 weeks. So it's probably not worth going into too much.
No. Literally just under the box it off, because it is like a preview of the next two weekends. I don't see Lossima running, lads, in the champion hurdle, because I think there's too many good mares gone over fences and they don't seem to have any intention. I think if they actually intended on her running over in the champion hurdle, I think Jade de Grugy or another one would be back over hurdles by now. This is just my opinion. I know Benny Dadu used to run over fences and then come back over hurdles, but I think she used to come back over hurdles by now, I think. I don't see it. Just there's not another good mare, really, is there? That's going for the champion or for the mare's hurdle without her. I don't think.
Well,
who?
From Willie's, you mean?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I don't mean in general. There's loads of good mares.
Yeah. Two good mares going for the
from
champion
Willie's.
hurdle.
Like, he's not going to leave that very winnable contest there. So, to be honest, I went through this kind of last few days trying to find an angle in. I don't think any horse has done what Sergino has done this season regardless, and I think if he shows up again at Cheltenham in that form, I'd say he takes an awful lot of stopping. You were never mad about Sergino, Cass, but I think he changed your opinion that day at Newcastle last year, didn't he, when he absolutely dossed up?
Oh, yeah. I thought he was a little bit hyped, for what he was doing as a juvenile, but he was awesome the day at Newcastle and the day that he beat Ballyburn. Like, you can't argue with it. I suppose that he probably looks the best horse in the division, but I have no strong opinion on it. Like,
no,
really
it's fine.
Haven't even thought about it. Tony, I know you have thought about it, though. We were talking about it before we came on, so you've got more interesting takes.
I don't know about that. Like, there's two stories on the news, lads, where I see them come up, or if I see them come up on social media. I either scroll past or change the station. There's two names, Donald Trump and Enoch Burke. And I just say, not for me today, lads. And the two racing equivalents of that, as far as I'm concerned, are Constitution Hill's Wellbeing and Lossiemouth's Target. I mean, like they literally are the most boring things in racing. I have zero interest in talking about them. So anyway, the one thought I had on the champion hurdle is that, and this is a fair turnaround from where I am in the start, and it is a Palamain's case. I'm going to kind of steal it from him because he's made a reasonable case to me. I would say, and I've had a very small bet on this, but Brighter Days Ahead is a little bit overpriced in the champion hurdle market, not the Irish champion hurdle market. So, because it's basically a glorified pick-em between herself and Lossiemouth for Leopardstown, yet Brighter Days Ahead is 12, 14, 16 to 1 for Cheltenham. She was favoured for the race last season. There is a massive concern about her at Cheltenham, and that is a thing. But she's just had a much better kind of, I suppose, preparation into it this season than last season. That performance she put in Christmas before last, just knocked the stuffing out of her. It wasn't right afterwards. Whereas this season she's come in really encouraging return of Christmas. I see Elliot saying in a stable to her there this evening. She was 3 weeks in the box there in November. Surely, to God, there has to be kind of improvement in her for that. And I thought she was worth taking a small chance. And I suppose you can argue she had a few physical issues at the end of last season, but horse can recover. Like, was Sergino not nearly dead around this time kind of last season? Like, he was really involved. There was
pray for Sergino.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I'm less concerned about kind of her well-being stuff than I am about her not handling Cheltenham, but I've taken a kind of a small chance on her, and hopefully she'll run a race next weekend. But yeah, Diarmuid, you've actually done well there because you've got me interested in Lossiemouth, because you made a good point there about what else has the Mullins crowd got for it? And when you do start going through the Antepost list, there are a huge number of mares which just there's no chance of running in the mare's order, I would say. And especially then with Elliott having a real short one, Mullins would want something there to go against that.
Yeah, no, he got Carghazy. He's also chasing. Like there's no other good mare in Mullins's. So I'd be shocked now. But anyway, sorry, Cass.
I thought I was just going to say, I thought when Townend did the interview after Lossiemouth won the last day, he was nearly as good as saying she's going Mare's Hurdle. If I was you, Tony, and I was going Brighter Days Ahead route, I'd probably do the double Brighter Days Ahead and Lossiemouth.
Maybe,
35 to 1 with
Cass loves that double, yeah. They're laid a double.
Yeah, now I would do it because I don't think Brighter Days Ahead likes Cheltenham. Like, I thought you looked very unhappy going down the hill the first year, and she just totally didn't run a race last year, so I wouldn't go near her, but I can see the case for it, all right. And then the World Hurdle, Tony, I said I've absolutely no interest in this race, and you shook your head in disgust at me. This is your favourite punting race of the week. Well, I could be exaggerating.
It's not my favourite.
It's got the Stayers Hurdle as well. Sorry, we're going.
Sorry, okay.
Yeah, I think it's a bit more interesting now than it has been in a few years. Cupid looks good as ever. You've Honesty Policy in the mix there. It's a couple of new horses imposed as well. It's not the same old stage at all coming back again. But no, do we have an opinion or a bet? Do you know, there's one opinion I do have that might kind of come in there in Gowran on Thursday. I'd say there's a bad favourite for that race. Staffordshire Not, I think, was put in the Antepost favourite. Just reading Gordon Elliott there against Stable Tour there this evening. I think, Jesus, lads, I tell you, the comment he made about Staffordshire Not wouldn't be something you'd want to be reading if you were thinking of taking a short price. The words to the effect, you don't know what this lad is going to do one day to the next. So I'd say that might be an interesting betting race on Thursday. I thought.
Well, I tell you, Tony, now this is no good to our listeners because they'll have the decks. But Rocky Diamond isn't running, and he's 4-1 at that market as well. Someone rang me before. They said, "Will you ask Tony what does he think of that market? What is the bet?" So if you're ruling out the favourite and the 4-1 joint second favourite, I wouldn't like to be trusting home by the Lee either, or feet of a dancer.
No, not at all. I think Jerry Colum is kind of running as well. He's kind of that's a bit of a new one. I thought Rocky's Diamond actually didn't run too bad at Christmas. I literally just totally overdid it in the lead and dropping in grave. That's a pity he's not running because I actually kind of would have been interested in him. So
could be wrong. What price is Franciscan Rock? Because that horse actually ran well in that last year.
33 to 1, Diarmuid.
Yeah, I'd say he could be a bet in that now.
Maximum another one can pop up on his day. But anyway, we're kind of this is definitely no good.
No use anybody. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah. Diarmuid, the Stayers Hurdle. You like one here, don't you? You're a big fan of Impose de Trois.
Yeah. After the race at Ascot, like I know Honesty Policy is a young horse and there's plenty of improvement in him, but geez, you'd swear now he travelled all over Impose Trois. Like he stayed on late after Impose Trois had the race done. This lad is the big, Larry, 3-mile sort you want. He's dodgy out. I think Nico de Bonville never gets enough praise for actually how well he rides this horse. This horse is a big, awkward, old lout, but you want that for the Stayers Hurdle. You know, you've had a good few winners of this who Paisley Park and stuff like that who hit that flat spot and kind of go on again. But coming to 2 out, he travelled as sweetly as he ever has, and then kind of went through with his effort and went through again. Honesty Policy runs on to him, but I don't know, the race is won at that stage. As in, I always think that gets over-dramatised sometimes when a horse makes ground laid on, when the horse in front was a bit clear and the jockey's not overly worried about the horse in second. I actually have a small differing opinion on Lossiemouth and Brighter Days Ahead. I think Lossiemouth had that race won. I think I'd be back in Lossiemouth to uphold that form again, but I won't. It's too short a price. I have the same opinion here. On the day, my big bet will be Impose Trois to beat Honesty Policy, and I'm quite confident that this lad will run a screamer. The only fly in the ointment is that was Theopo's best ever performance at Christmas. He did look unbelievably good, and to run that well on that ground as well, Bob Ollinger will come on for that. But Impose Trois, he will be my bet for the Stayers. I absolutely love him. I think 3 miles has really unlocked him. Just because he ran in the Cora Cup last year doesn't mean he's not very well. He was just very well handicapped, and he's a serious horse. And yeah, him to beat Honesty Policy will be my bet in the day, Cass.
Okay, very good. And we're going to have a look at the Novice Chaser. It's going to look back to Christmas and ahead, really, through the divisions. But the 2-milers, the Arkle, you're talking about the Lambeth's 11-day favourite, Bet365, strikes me very sharp when you have a little bit of strength and depth that you have Kopech the board in there, you have Romeo Coolio in there, and you have a few more. But Tony, you'd have to be a bit worried about Kopech the board. Any horse that you hear having surgery and tied to make his target at the Arkle, there'd be some level of concern there, wouldn't there?
Yeah, did he have surgery or something? Is that a new
only to
thing, is
remove
it?
a chip like a wood chip.
Yeah. Oh, not
Yeah. Minor
absolutely
stuff.
not ideal.
Yeah.
Not ideal. Just like I'd be of the view that the trip is probably too short for Romeo Coolio. But I also wouldn't really be a believer in this stuff about taking him up to 3 miles either. Like
Powers Gold Cup.
he has a long term. Yeah, like there's a long term here as well as just the next race at Cheltenham this season. Like, and I think they need to kind of be thinking about that a little bit with him. God, I just wouldn't be in love with kind of definitely going up for a slogging match to 3 miles. I know that there's been a few run-ins of that kind of Brown advisory in the last few years, like Moatfish and even last season that were quite tactical, but kind of haven't prepared him to be trying to make a 2 mile or 2.5 miler out of him all season. I should stick with it there and so look, if he runs on into Tour de Force or Grand, making him a 3 miler down the lane, I think can kind of make a lot more sense. We've seen horses step up and trip from the Arkle. Maybe it's a bit more in the past now, but I think they should kind of stick to plan, even if there's maybe a race that he can't win at Cheltenham.
Yeah, I agree. Didn't do Django by any harm. Didn't do Sizen John any harm. These kind of horses, they keep him at the 2 miles and see how he goes. And it never seemed to bother them, the Arkle anyway. If even
exactly.
It's probably good for his development to go for the Arkle for Romeo Coolio. Dermo Lulamba is 11-8 now at 365. I mean, he beat Be Aware, who
badly let down that form.
Disappointed at the weekend, and there's nothing in his form over fences. That's it. He's been good, but he's not an electric jumper. Is he? Sure, he's not. He's kind of a safe conveyance.
Safe. Like last time, you had to be impressed with him between defenses. If that makes sense, he's quicker than I thought he was. And the fact that he was able to uphold that 3.5, I was impressed with him on the day, thinking his jumping could improve. Sometimes the jumping just doesn't improve. Romeo Coolio, I'd forgive him a little bit. I do like him for this. I think that run at Christmas, I always have this weird small thing that I have I forgive a horse a flat going after a career best. I think that was a career best a Fairy House before it. And I think next time out they can be caught a little bit and not get to that level again. It happens all the time, like in the darts when somebody would beat Phil Taylor, they'd be knocked out the next round. It does happen. And I do think that I forgive him that. I also think Jack Kennedy thought he had Irish Panther, and Irish Panther met that last. One thing on Irish Panther as well, I have never seen a horse turn inside out like this. Like the Harties have turned him inside out.
Savage.
Oh, yeah, he was a dodgepot, like a complete nutter. You wouldn't touch him. You wouldn't take him to the Debs either, as Cass said about that other poor mare last week. But all of a sudden he's just completely turned inside out. I like the fact that they mentioned with his age that they might have a go at the champion chase with him, which I think would be deadly. But the
well, they entered him.
Yeah,
why not? Like, sure, the horse, he's probably 10, is he? He's around.
He's
long
9.
Time, anyway.
He's 9.
Definitely 9. Yeah. Why not?
He's 9 years old. He's flying as well. He's been delicate in the past, but I think Romeo Coolio, I would forgive him that last run. I don't think he's as slow as that. I think he wasn't too slow in a Supreme, and Stayers can win this race around the old course anyway. So he'd be where we're leaning now, Cass, but I haven't had any big bet. Kappa G Pike, would you still like him?
Yeah, I loved him, man. I watched it back again this week, and I saw them talking about him on Road to Cheltenham, and watched it again, I suppose, and saw Ruby and Lydia. Lydia was kind of in my school at all, very impressed with him. He'd be a stayer at the trip, but he showed plenty of speed as well to go by those horses. The last day, the only thing I'd be worried about now is Ruby was kind of talking about maybe they'd keep him for the Willow Worm Gold Cup. Powers Whiskey might have it over you there, Dermo, but it's the Willow Worm Gold Cup nowadays at Fairy House.
I'm dreaming of hot whiskey,
yeah. But I loved them, and a stayer at the trip. I love stayers at the 2 miles in the Arkle. They'll often give you a good run for their money. We obviously saw it last year. A few stayers got into it when Madbury made the mistake. So yeah, absolutely loved them. I just like the Mambo number 5, you would have thought wouldn't have anywhere near the class. Whereas the other fella,
he probably won't go
double the price of him.
It sounded to me with Ben Jones, I really like Mammoth number 5, but it sounded to Ben Jones like they were angling towards the Jack Richards. 145 wouldn't rule him out of a Jack Richards the way he's going. So I could
Yeah.
see him going for that novice handicap anyway. So yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. And I can't really see a world where Irish Panther wins an Arkle, but I can't see a world where Captain Pike wins. And it's like Cargeese, will she go for it? She may or may not. Romeo Coolio, will you go for it? Will Cupping to Board make it? I just think 40 to 1 is way too big. I don't know if that out there anymore. There's definitely 25s there. And I thought when he was 40, it was too big. And do like him, yeah. And you know, if anything happened to go back to board, all of a sudden he's probably Paul Townend is riding him and he's 7 to 1 on the day or 8 to 1, you know what I mean?
He could end up in
Yeah, so
Cargeese
that's
as
that.
well, couldn't he, I suppose?
I suppose he could, yeah, if she goes, and she probably will. She's a bit free for the intermediate trip, isn't she, in the mare's
Yeah, it's just
case,
she seems
fair.
to be back for that
Yeah.
race at the DRF, and Copic de Board seems to be drifting. So,
Okay.
I'd say Cargeese could end up shaping up to be their number 1 for the Arkle. Yeah, that seems to be the way
Okay.
it's looking. But look, these early markets can make fools of us all, can't they?
Yeah. And then the Brown Advisory, I mean, it's Final Demand and the rest nowhere really, especially if you take Romeo Coolio out of it. Dermo, are you a believer?
Final Demand, yes and no. I think he's very good, but I don't know. I just have a feeling he's beatable without any scientific explanation behind that phrase. I just have never been brilliantly taken by him. I wasn't taken by him at
Well,
Christmas.
his form's nothing sexy. Is that, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he beat Wingman and he beat who was it, Gold Dancer or someone at Limerick.
Gold
I know it was a
Dancer
grade
Christmas,
1, but
yeah.
it wasn't a
Gold
grade 1
Dancer
really, it
loomed
was a
up to
grade
him
3.
as well, like he was going to go by it at
Yeah.
one stage as well. But yeah, look, you forgive that too. How the stable was half going, but still, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the Big Westerner is going to be a cracking bet in this once she runs. I think last year, I think that Albert Bartlett gets underestimated how well she actually performed there. She bumped into Paul Townend on the Friday at Cheltenham, which is worth £5 to horse. I'm convinced of it, just the way he rides him up that golden highway up the outside. He just seems to get this momentum on a horse. She also bumped into a horse who just had more flat speed than her, and beat her for toe. She travelled through that beautifully. She also showed an aptitude for decent ground, which she hadn't shown before, and came out of it none the worse at all. Now, she blew up at Fairyhouse, but she was well due that. She'll have a similar prep this time, I think, by the sounds of it. She'll be going there straight from Christmas. As we know, Henry de Bromhead, most of his winners don't have a run in the year before, in the few months before Cheltenham. They all tend to go there pretty much from Christmas. I just think this was really smart. That form is also working out. Joystick won from behind her in that novice chase, or beginner's chase, sorry. She was behind Jimmy Desai. He was the other one that I wanted to mention. I think Cocktail Diving, I think he's a complete 2.5 miler. I do not like him for this race at all. I think the Powers the Willow Warren Gold Cup. If I say Powers Gold Cup one more time, I'll retire, I promise.
There's going to be some race, Dermo.
It's like the
we'll
Welsh National. Remember, we never knew what to do with
a
novice.
table.
We'd force them into the Welsh National. Jimmy Desai, though, I think at 25 to 1, I think you can just forgive that run of Christmas, whatever it was. That form is very strong, and he looked really good that day. Jay de Grugy has backed up as well. The Big Westerner, Joystick has backed up that form as well. He went out too early, obviously, for that to count at all. 25 to 1 about him, I think, looks big. I would actually much prefer him around Cheltenham because he's won there already than Kitzbühel, who I think is a complete and utter flat track horse. I do believe in flat track horses. I think he's one of them. And I wouldn't like Kitzbühel at all for this. I thought he was very good at Kempton, but Jesus, he adored the place. I'd like Jimmy Desai here now. I really would. I thought that was an excellent performance. But look, you need to find out what the hell went wrong. But hopefully 25 to 1 just looked big for a horse who looked as good as he did in beating a good field first time out, Steve.
Yeah, very good. And to throw one at you, Tony, from left field, I don't know what's going on with this horse.
Jerry Hassan Paddy. Sorry, go ahead.
But no. I was going to throw Oscar's
Paddy.
brother, the Kings. Like the best piece of form maybe is Oscar's brother beating Cocktail Divan, Boston Brownies, Rocky's Diamond. Now, but he's nearly hitting triple figure prices now on the exchange. He'd be one from the Irish angle that might have a chance if he was targeted at the race.
Yeah,
he went
well,
for the 10
McManus
up, I
bought
suppose.
him, didn't he?
Yeah, so he could be Irish national then. Good pick.
Yeah, so Irish Grand National, not that they wouldn't have other options for it there. I agree with an awful lot of what Diarmuid is saying there. Final Demand, workman like I suppose the horse, what's going to run and what's going to be the pace set up. Like, to me, obviously Final Demand is the Mullins chosen one because they just changed the tactics on Jimmy Desai completely at Limerick. he loved to me been out in front of Fairy House in whatever it was, late November, early December, loved it. And then they kind of dropped him in. He didn't travel as well, he didn't jump anywhere near as well. Feeling maybe he bounced a little bit because he has been a little bit fragile, and it was really impressive in Fairy House. That was the thing. And then the Kit's Bull as well, who's another front runner. Seemed to love it in Campton. Like, to me, they're hardly going to run the three, and they're hardly going to run the three taking each other on up the front either. You know, they will kind of structure their tactics kind of around that. I would have thought, because the last thing they want is the big Wester sitting fourth or fifth and then kind of pick them up.
That's fair.
I do think kind of they don't. I like the obvious race with Jimmy Desai maybe would be go back. I know he's running Cheltenham, but in Fairy House or friends. Yeah, I don't know. I just think the three of them having the same tactics. Like, to me, I don't know. Just felt like Jimmy Desai and Limerick. Yeah, not today, lads. They put him out the back, and I think that saw him be a bit of disadvantage there, and find the man workmanlike and finish up on very little debate.
Yeah, and we're not ignoring the UK horses, but I suppose
this isn't their strongest division in fairness. Wendigo is the shortest, is it?
Yeah, and he'd be kind of more of a maybe a Welsh national horse or
Coral Gold Cup. I was going to say,
Gold Cup horse. Yeah. If you got a bit of soft ground, he'd be kind of that class. You'd be surprised if he was the class to win it. Okay, is that all of it, Diarmuid? Did you want to make any points on the novice handicap rating? So if we're happy with that, we'll go and we'll hear from Pat Cooney from our sponsors, Bet365. Joined now by Pat Cooney from Bet365. And Pat, you're looking fresh for a man that was away from home for 3 days. Had you a good time down around Ascot, Windsor?
Yeah, it was Windsor Friday, Ascot Saturday, and Windsor Sunday. But I behaved myself, you know. I stay in. I'm a bit low key when I go out and about on my travels, but a little bit tired now. But had a great time of it.
Yeah, and Windsor now. I've been there at the Flat and the Figure of Eight, and you know the viewing's a bit funny there. They kind of go away and you can't see them nearly. When I was there, now this is years ago. Is it still like that? How did you find the experience of viewing from the stands there over the weekend?
Yeah, it's still as bad as it ever was, but it's just a great atmosphere there. It's such a small venue, but it's very quaint and quirky.
Yeah.
And you'd be loath if they knocked the stands down and regenerated it. It feels like you go into a throwback era when you go there. So I think it's got a certain charm about it that is lacking at some tracks.
Definitely. And was there a big crowd there, Pat? I presume there was.
Yeah, there was a big crowd for the Friday. Sunday was busier. And you go to Ascot and you think, there's not many here, but then it's so vast.
Yeah.
You compare the numbers and there were more at Ascot. But, the tracks did a great offer. It was 40 quid for the 3 days. And, sometimes it costs you 30 quid to get into one meeting here for 6 races. So, it works well on that idea. And the tracks are only like 10 minutes apart anyway. So you can pitch up locally and have a great time like I did.
Yeah, it'd be a nice one. I was going to January. The thing is, if you're traveling from Ireland for those things, you're worried about cancellations because I think Windsor was off 1 or 2 years. I was going to Warwick 2 years ago and off it went. So, yeah, that's your worry to travel. But I'd love to go to that whole weekend. Sounds fantastic. And up at Haydock, I suppose the most impressive performance was probably Old Park Star, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I tell you what, fellas, we're in a bit of a mess at Bet365 now on this Supreme Hurdle because at the start of the year, there was a bit of interest in him, but we were looking at his bumper form. He had 3 runs in bumpers, got beaten them all. Okay, he ran with a degree of credit in all 3, it must be said. But nevertheless, he was 0 from 3 in bumpers, and he looked generally slow, really. So I think we were like 40-1 at the start of the season. Then he came out and he won at Kempton, a minor race. He was weak in the market. First run for Nicky Henderson, and he won really well. And you're thinking, well, Kempton's normally a speed horse's track, so maybe we should take him seriously. So he went 16 after that. Then he absolutely trotted up at Cheltenham in what again looked a hot race as well, at a price as well. So we went 10 after that, thinking, but Willie will have something. No, well, let's not panic too much necessarily. You've still got the likes of El Kairos, Talk the Talk around. Let's not panic too much about him. And then, of course, he was even more impressive at Haydock last time. And we went 3-1 after the race, and it's been well supported ever since. We're currently 9-4, and I think that the time gurus in the office are he's improving so much from race to race to race. He really could be the real deal, but for my sins, I've still got that 0 from 3 in bumpers on my mind. So I'm going to have to cop on, really. And yeah, he's the first race of the day. We've got another 27 races to claw it back. But I would imagine a lot of our fellow bookmakers are also in a similar predicament with him. So his price won't be drifting too soon anyway.
Yeah, and I think you were bigger again after the Cheltenham run. There was lots of 16s and 20s out there, including yourselves, immediately after. I think Diarmuid might have got a bit of it. I spoke with the lads on the WhatsApp and said, geez, that seems a great price. And of course, didn't back it, should have backed it. And Mighty Park was the other one in the Supreme market, Pat. He made a big splash. 12 to 1 looks plenty short enough for him, I would have thought, on experience, you know.
Yeah, and again, from a bookmaking angle, we're always trained to, look at the negatives. When he won by such a wide margin, I mean, visually it was stunning, wasn't it? But then you say, yeah, but what did he beat? Maybe the other one didn't run so well. But the way he performed, and I thought what was telling was afterwards was Frank Berry's comments about how we always liked him. He was ultra impressive, and Frank Berry wouldn't be a man to praise a horse necessarily, for winning. And well, on the face of it was an ordinary looking race, but he sits there now as 12 to 1 for the Supreme. I don't know if they've got other distance ideas with him. Was he a half brother to Mike Bite, who was a 3-miler? So if he goes off to tanking along in the lead, then he might be hard to catch. So it's all to play for now. So hopefully a few others will throw their hat into the ring. But we're in old Park Star, anything but at the moment for in terms of liabilities.
Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, DRF's only 11 days away or whatever it is. So that'll change all and change utterly for the Supreme market as well, I suspect. Yep. We're talking novice chasers this week, Pat. One very interesting market with the Arkle and one not so interesting one with the Brown Advisory. But starting with the Arkle, you've always been a Lulamba fan. I hadn't checked this market in a long time, and I kind of presumed Kopek de Boer to be favourite. But obviously, with the worries about the little small surgery he had, he's quite a big price to lay on the exchange. It's not quite a big price. I think he's nearly 8 to 1 on the exchange. So there's question marks about him. So Lulamba's now strong favourite, Pat.
Yeah, Lulamba, he continues to shorten up despite staying in his box all the time. So it's like that. There are the negative fives for Kopek de Boer. I'm loath to say like he's friendless and, but we have had punters who are back to Antepost. They are cashing out now. He's just had the one run over fences and, who knows if he misses the DRF, can he really win an Arkle on the back of one run? He's Willie Mullins, of course, so anything goes. But, at the moment, the momentum is with Lulamba, who continues to impress at home. Everyone's always been very high on him. And Lulamba at the start of the jump season was 4, but every time he's come out and run and won well, he's continued to shorten up. And I was reading that, where does he go next? And the plan is to go for the Game Spirit at Newbury. Well, that's a tall order, really, because the Game Spirit is for all aged horses. So there's Nicky Henderson saying, I don't mind if I take on the older established horses. You've got me to beat. So Lulamba continues to be the hot horse for that race. And of course, the enigma of the race is Romeo Coolio, who's third favourite for one and second favourite for another. Where does he go? I can imagine their connections to Romeo Coolio just holding on to their cards at the moment, saying, look, we don't have to panic. Let's just see what happens going forward. And see, what the strength of the opposition is nearer the time. But Romeo Coolio is going to go a long way to determining how short these favourites get in these respective two races.
And do you think there's that at a big price, Pat? Because it has that shape of a race that, Romeo Coolio has a bit of stamina, so does Lulamba, Kopek de Boer ? So is there something can come out of the pack and surprise?
Well, there's Mambo number 5. I remember the song years ago, and I didn't like the song, and I don't like the horse really. But he's a popular horse. They rate him highly. I think they're twixt and tween really. They're waiting to see what handicap rating he gets. So when they're thinking, let's see what handicap mark he gets, that kind of says to you, I don't think we can beat the top ones, but maybe they might roll the dice. And I think he's on pace to run maybe at Warwick or so. So he's going to now have another run, maybe another win. And if he wins next time out, that'll be 4 wins in a row. So he might be the one the public latch on to, but he's an awful lot of work to do to close the gap on the market leaders at the moment.
Yeah, and at least there's a few in the Arkle. It looks like you'd be thin on the ground for runners in the Brown Advisory, Pat. Final Demand's all the talk. And you were telling us before you came on that you met his owner at, I don't know, was it Ascot or Windsor, but you had a little insight there how he's going.
Yeah, I met Brian Drew at Windsor on Friday, and I've known Brian a few years now. Of course, Brave Man's Game he owns, which won our Bet365 Charlie Hall in 2022. And what's always struck me about him, he's a very level-headed fella, not too high, not too low. And I asked him about Final Demand, and I did say to him, not everyone was impressed with this horse when he won at Limerick last time out. And he said, yeah, I can understand that. But Patrick Mullins rode him, and the dilemma he had that day, they were conscious that the second favourite was the speed horse of the race, and they didn't want to go a slow gallop. They didn't necessarily want to lead. And again, it was just a tactical affair, and they decided to make the run-in with him. And the jockey reported afterwards he wasn't doing a tap in front. So, he still won a Grade 1 by 8 lengths. And he said, he's the type of horse that would be a better horse in a better race. And all systems go for the DRF. And hopefully, and this shows you how much they think of the horse, hopefully something will take them on in the lead and make it a real good gallop. They'd have no problem leading or sitting in behind. So they're going to say, they're very much of the opinion he wants a stronger run race, and don't judge him on the Limerick form. As I say, a Grade 1 win anyway, but you're better judging him on what he's going to do, hopefully, at Leopardstown. So they're very, very happy with the horse. No hiccups. He is evens, though. Whether you want to play at evens right now remains to be seen. So we'll see what happens. But if you are a fan, having spoken to his owner on Friday, you've got no need to be scratching your head. The horse is in very good form. Ironically, I also spoke to Jamie Snowden at Windsor, and he's got what he says is the shortest price UK horse in the race, Wendigo, who I think he ran at Kempton behind Kitspool of Willie Mullins. Kempton wouldn't have suited him. Cheltenham probably will. And Wendigo, he's in sparkling order as well. He may have one more run before he goes there. So if you're looking at one apart from Final Demand, again, Wendigo, he's in good order and on pace to go for the race. I think we're 20-1 at the moment. And at least you know that's his target and that's where he's going to be aimed at. So, you could find yourself when we get to the 11th of March on the day, Final Demand, who knows, he might be 2-5 and Wendigo might be 8-1 second in. So there's plenty of movers and shakers. But I say the key to both of these is where does Romeo Coolio go? So he can't run in on both. So depends what they want to do.
Yeah, I suppose where else can Wendigo go? So if you're getting, he might be one you might even back each way. If you think there's going to be a very small field, he could be interested that way. Would you have much liabilities on Final Demand now, Pat? He's been short all along, so...
Yeah, not really. He features in a lot of the Willie Mullins multiples. But again, we all knew about him. We all knew he was only going to have the one race. He was never going to be for the Arkle. Maybe if he was that good, he might be in a Gold Cup horse, but that's not the trainer's style by any means. So we were pricing him up on the basis he's the dominant horse. Let's see if others come and say, hello, what about me in the market? But the likes of Kitspool, again, he's solid enough. The big Westerner has some sort of a chance as well. But the vibes are very solid for Final Demand. Of course, he won it over Christmas when not all of Willie Mullins' horses were in top form. So, I went away from Windsor thinking, Final Demand, and he could well be the real deal, and he could be 2-1 on after the DRF.
Yeah, he could be. And Pat, this weekend you're always on your travels. Is it? I don't even know where it's on this weekend. Is it Doncaster or where is on the?
Well, it's trials day at Cheltenham, so it's always informative. Yeah. But with the trials day, you tend to draw a line through horses that can't win rather than go away thinking, that'll win, and that'll win. So there's plenty of life to go. And then the week after that, we sponsor the 2 days at Musselburgh. So you'll see me hitting the town in Edinburgh over the Friday and the Saturday night in 2 weeks' time.
Fair play, Pat. Thanks very much, and we'll chat to you next week.
Lovely. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks to Pat, and we will see more of him on his show with Rory Giovanni and Ed Quigley later on in the week. Notebook horse from you, Dermo. Tony, to be fair, you've already given us a couple of notebook horses as we went there. So, Dermo, for you, a notebook horse?
Yeah, I have a horse now that none of you will have heard of. A real dark one here now. Jericho de Repine. I love this horse anyway, but look, I'm sorry, just had to be highlighted. First time in a handicap. I've been watching this horse closely because I am convinced that sometimes the green and gold can kind of trick us into thinking every horse is well handicapped there, and some of them are just useless. This horse, I thought it was jumping deplorably. Now, they found lovely races for him the whole way along, but this day now he jumped very well. And you know what? For anyone that knocks Nico de Boinville, watch this ride back. It is a ride of mastery. It's a ride that Harry Cobden will need to learn how to do it. It was absolute beautiful stuff. And jumped.
Did Nico get at you this week or something after praising him about 3 times on the podcast? Or?
I think I'm just, what did they say about Joe Brawley? What did Tomas O'Shea say about Joe Brawley before he sticks his head out the door and sees what way the wind is blowing and go the opposite way? Yeah. I think people slagging Nico de Boinville just annoys me so much that I end up overpraising him. But the I thought this was just kind of very interesting. He found every bit of trouble. He stayed on very well then in the end. Just really interested to see what his aim is, because this could be anything from a handicap of Punchestown to that novice handicap at the Punchestown Festival to the Irish Grand National to the Kilmere. He probably won't get because he's 149 over hurdles. But it's just really interesting now to see what his aim is. They're up to something with him anyway. Steve.
Yeah, I thought Diane Quest ran a nice race, and that could be one for the Ultima.
Screamer of a race. Screamer. Yeah.
Suit him, he's kind of getting himself back on track. And Tony, you want to talk about the test days on Thursday? Big day down in Kilkenny.
That's it. I thought Jonathan Drackney would probably be a horse to be aiming at the Ultima myself, but we'd see about that. With the way things have gone the last 10 days, I've been quite surprised if Mullins doesn't win it, and he has a raft of really interesting horses in this TS days. The one or two there, I thought at the front ends of the betting, I thought were a little bit opposed. But Answer the Cave, didn't like the interview now with Terence O'Brien with Johnny Ward there a few weeks ago. I think you mentioned, Stephen. Johnny Ward's a great lad for getting stuff out of these lads. I don't know what it is. He just gets the best out of lads. A bit of fun, but also interesting stuff. So Terence O'Brien seemed to have backed off with a lot of his runners there kind of in December over Christmas and that. And they'd been scoping wrong, and Answer the Cave was one that had scoped wrong, so I didn't particularly like the sound of that. And then you've got another lad from a yard beside the farm now, is the Hour. He like the ground, I suppose, in Gowran, but I just wonder, is he a bit of a trap flick? Did he ever recover from getting the £15 for the Navan Beginners Chase, finishing 4th or 5th day to qualify for the National Hunt Chase? So I have a horse here, a bit of a rag that I'm going to take a chance on. I used to go back a little bit into his form, but I was delighted to see this evening there, Clark, of course, what they call him, Paddy Graffin, saying that it's already nearly heavy, and they have 30 mils or something in the last week, and there's more coming. So it's really usual to yes, this ground type of thing. And the one I kind of was given a chance to was Intense Raffles.
Oh yeah,
who wants that kind of stuff and hasn't had it in a long time. Now, where do we kind of start? So obviously, he was a really good winner of the Irish Grand National, despite kind of making a mistake at a crucial time. Then he started last season, they ran him over hurdles. I'd say he just didn't take for that at all. But the first and only time really in the last 2 seasons where he's actually got a chase on heavy ground, he made Nick Rocket pull out all the stops in the Bobby Joe, giving him £4. So obviously that was savage form. Tiesta's winner and subsequent Grand National winner after that. And then this season, he ran the Grand National himself. Actually, look, nice ground at Aintree, good to soft, forget about it. He started back this season, Clonmacnoise behind Aletia Thompson, completely the wrong track, completely the wrong trip. I thought he kept on kind of reasonably well there, considering. And then he ran in the Coral Gold Cup at Newbury. Ground way too fast there again, but he ran a right good race in 8, and he's disappointed last time in Chepstow in the Welsh Grand National. But I was reading and talking to a couple of lads in England, they were basically saying the ground was bothering them good to fair. I'm that day like at Chepstow.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a totally
Chepstow, yeah.
false going description there. So I'd be totally inclined to forgive that. And if it hasn't taken the edge off him, he's one of the, I think he's turning threes there with most for the Tiestes. Tom Gibney has been on a bad run, but he had a winner at New Year's Eve at Punchestown, and then he had another one. Kintuck Calanisi ran really well in the Paddy Power, and then he had another horse, Kintuck something or other, ran well at Punchestown the week before last. He just kind of nutted on the line. So I'm just wondering if they're coming back into a small bit of form. And this horse had 4 runs and staying chases in Ireland. He's won 3 of them, and second Nick Rocket in the other one. I'm just going to give him a chance here at a big price and yes, finally, and hopefully the ground coming right.
Very good. Okay. Thanks, Tony. Good luck with that bet. Thanks to Diarmuid, Nolan. Thanks to Tony Keenan. Thanks to our sponsors, Bet365. And we will talk to everyone next week.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounding Cheltenham Star into submission.